question is Anne staying there forever?
Outlook, not so good.
Well, for instance, if you just graduated from school, right, and you have an income, you can get a mortgage.
This a developer told me many years ago, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy the real estate and then you wait. Welcome back to Imma Talks podcast. Today we have two amazing guests and I can't wait to introduce each one. Being an old school kid, I'm going to go with ladies first. So to my left we have Anne-Laure, aspiring designer and accessories maker. Look how great this thing is. I'm going to show it a little more detail on the inside in a few minutes. Also buyer, seller. How many times? Three?
Three times.
Three times. To my right we have Jose Becerra, Chase Community Home Lending Advisor. That's the title. Okay, guys? Jose speaks Spanish fluently and English, and Anne speaks 5 languages. So maybe at the end of this show, we'll have a couple of square-offs in a foreign language. How did that sound? So today, the reason for the show is going to be a bit about buying, selling, leveraging debt. Jose here can talk about how we use mortgage financing, OPM, other people's money, to go ahead and buy bigger. And Anne is going to share her journey. I met Anne, by the way, when her daughter and my son were in pre-K, so we go back quite a bit. They are now high school seniors. Teenage crazy years. So that was one hell of a ride in that pre-K class. It was crazy.
Isn't it over?
It's over, yeah. But you want to know something? The trauma. I have post-traumatic stress disorder from pre-K. So when I met Anne, she was living in a condo.
Yep.
On President Street.
In Brooklyn.
A simplex, meaning everything on one floor.
I actually had a roof deck.
Oh, she had a roof deck, right. So that's technically another floor. So you want to share your journey, Anne, as a single mom?
Sure. So back in 2010, oh my gosh.
Oh, no. Keep
Doesn't
dating
make us
myself.
younger. I was renting in Park Slope with my daughter on the 4th floor, walk up, and living pretty much of my savings because my salary was so low. I woke up one day and I'm like, okay, in 5 years, I am going to be living on the street. So I had some savings, which I was using to live at the time. I made an appointment with a mortgage broker. I went to see him and I said, listen, I am paying that much in rent. I have that much in the bank.
Page 1, guys.
This is how much I can pay every month. How much can you lend me? And he gave me a number and I was like, okay, now I know what I'm looking for. And for a month, I took the stroller, roamed the street of Brooklyn until I found the perfect place where I would picture myself waking up every day.
So let me just ask, one defining moment, because a lot of people who watch and tune in are renting and they may be having this moment of where, oh, I think I'm going to buy, but how do you do that? What exactly was that defining moment when you went from like, it's time to buy, I don't want to pay this rent anymore, and was it did you have any like fears associated with actually taking on a 30-year debt, a marriage actually with the bank, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 30-year marriage instead of a landlord where you could just be like, hey, I'm out of here in 30 days. I changed my mind. You're not, because a lot of buyers, experience anxiety, stress, and they're not sure, right?
And they're afraid.
They're afraid that it holds them
Anxiety.
back. Yeah, they keep, They
back out.
They back out. They back out. We know that all too well. They back out.
It just made more sense. It was common sense for me to put my money in a down payment, negotiate a decent rate, and a monthly payment that allowed me to continue to go out, to buy things for myself, to travel, and be home.
And you were doing all this alone? At the
Alone,
time?
100% alone, actually. So I have all my families in France. My dad was just recovering from a stroke. There was no way I could rely on my family at the time. So, yes, I was alone.
And you were doing it all on a 5-figure income?
Yep.
See, guys, it's possible. 5-figure income, single mom.
I had actually lost my job in the big layoff in 2009 and started from scratch a new career where I divided my income by
And
two.
hold on one more second. We're going to interrupt here. It's not from the United States.
Yes, I had actually just received my citizenship.
And
the
she
other day.
arrived legally, so just for the record, we don't have to worry about.
I'm
we
totally
don't have to worry about,
legit.
wait, it won't be rated. She actually became a United States citizen and entered through the front door. But in the meantime, and that's a big deal because a lot of people are born and raised here and can't seem to shake that fear and can't seem to get to that next step. And that's why I'm asking. So single mom, not even, just newly made United States citizen, correct?
Yeah, 2009.
You know,
so a year
parents
before.
overseas,
Yeah.
a child at home.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that, if you're tuning in, you can totally relate to. Like New York City seems also scary and tough and everything like that. But all it takes apparently is setting your mind. Making a decision, would you say, is the first
Setting
thing?
your
Like
goals.
setting.
But before
Setting the goal.
I just
but-
have to say one thing. I have to say my license number, which is 56087, because it's very important before I talk about mortgages.
Okay, good. All right. So we got that in. We're ready to go.
The defining moment, actually, beyond the fact that I did not have a sustainable situation by paying rent, yes, that's, was when I met with the mortgage broker. He was extremely transparent in terms of what was possible and what was not possible. And once he gave me a price, I was able to look for something that made sense. And if I was going to go below this price, I was like, okay, I can go further and buy a car, or I can.
What would
know
you
what I mean?
do? Like someone like Anne comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm paying this in rent," right? Like, what?
Yeah, so we do the same thing. I do a whole analysis for you. We do the pre-approval. We take all your information. I put it all together. We look at your immigration status, which is very important
Today, especially.
and then we look at it and I talk to you about this is what you can afford, right? We do look at your credit because that's really important also because people don't realize that you need to have credit, right?
Yeah.
And some people don't.
No, exactly.
So, and then we put it all together, and I would sit with you and do the same thing. I would say, hey, Anne, this is what you could go up to 400,000 on a purchase. You could put down as little as 3.5%.
I was just gonna say that. So, like you say, okay. So a lot of people think that you need like this gross amount of money, so they're living their lifestyle, floating around, and not preparing for the future. Real estate generally, I'd like to use the word always, goes up. There are small micro bends in the market, but if you look at a Case-Shiller index over time, it only goes one direction. If you continue floating around, paying $5,000 a month rent and thinking it's so great to go to Europe 6 times a year, by the time you wake up and have that defining moment, things will change. But like Jose mentioned, with 3.5% down, those loans do exist,
and we
right?
can even do 3%.
Even
So
3%.
Some of the conforming programs let you do 3% down, which is awesome, right? Or you could do the FHA programs, which are 3.5%, and you can buy a multifamily.
What's the
and
credit
get
requirement
rental
for
income.
FHA?
620.
So
Well, every company is
it's
different,
right? But is
our
that like a
requirements are
standard industry,
it's
like
yeah.
a standard?
Yes.
So look, a credit score of 620. Of course, you have to have a job. All right, let's be serious. There's a few things we need, right? Credit score like 620. You need to have employment. Doesn't matter. As long as it's been steady, from my knowledge of mortgages, like the last 2 years, they look at still
They
case.
look at 2 years.
They look at 2
But if you
years.
just graduated from, for instance, if you just graduated from school, right, and you have an income, you can get a mortgage.
Oh,
Because
there you go.
We look at your diploma because you have been in school and you've been
That's
out of,
amazing.
out of work already and you're working and we can show you can get a mortgage.
Wow.
Yeah.
See that? I learned something new because you learn something new every day. We got the magic 8 ball here today, everybody. We're going to have some fun with this. So Anne goes ahead and buys her first condo. That's when I met her. She was living on President Street.
That's right. A condo that did not need any renovation. So I moved in ready.
Do you remember the purchase price? $460,000. So if we were to fast forward that wheel, when it got time for Anne to sell that apartment.
Actually, it worked the way around. I met a new person and we had a baby. So the
The space got
the
smaller.
herd doubled. We went from 2 to 4. And my new partner and I were like, okay, what do? Do we save and wait 10 years and buy something 10 years from now? Or do we expand? We explored buying the below apartment to turn it into a duplex. The bank was like, no, we cannot sponsor 2 out of the 3 units it was a 3-unit.
It was a
Right,
3-unit
so, yes,
condo.
so those are requirements. That's correct.
So
Still the same.
So it hasn't
Still the
changed.
same. You know, I'm doing this 20 years, still the same. That's still the same. Certain things just don't change. But, you know, rates, of course, they do. And I don't have my crystal ball today, so I can't tell you where they're going. But that's probably about the only thing that changes. I mean, the terms are still always
Yeah.
either fixed or
Variable.
adjustable, variable,
Adjustable,
or
Right. So we
So
gave
go
up.
ahead.
We kind of gave up.
the
And
herd doubled.
some friends come visit the baby who is 2 weeks old, and they're like, oh, the people below us, they're not able to sell this duplex. They're bringing down the price by $100K every month. It's not good for the condo reputation. I'm like, I am going to go check it out. And I do. I push the stroller one day. It's literally a dump, but huge dump. And they wanted 1.2, I think. I was like, we can't afford this. This is too much. But I call Imma. And I was like, listen,
Imma talks a lot.
we're not really like looking to move, but I think I found the right space for my family. We don't have to do a full cut, but it just feels so right. There's 2,000 square feet. There's a backyard.
And that was technically Borum Hill, right? That warren between
It was 7 blocks from where we lived.
right.
Same routine. We keep the
Yeah.
kids in the same daycare. We keep the kids in the same school. We take the
Yeah.
same train to work every day. Same everything. Same grocery store.
But you see, going a little bit further out, maybe, you know, like we talked about with in past episodes about expansion, right? So 7 small blocks got her what she needed,
Well, I was
and,
like,
needed a gut. But okay, but so look, for a 1.2 million,
we were not anywhere near buying 1.2. But
Right.
I called Imma. This is really the defining moment.
ta-da, ding! I need a bell.
Ding! And she's like, I can make it happen. I was like, how? How much did you buy your apartment for? 460. I sell for 900. I was like, impossible.
And it wasn't a big apartment. It was a simplex with a roof deck, but it was how many square feet? 800?
Something like that. Not
So,
even.
not even 800.
750.
750 square feet, top floor, 2 stories, 2-story walk up.
Yep.
And we sold it for the full ask.
1 week. Full ask price.
And then so she had already now, see, like a hermit crab grows out of their shell. She was growing out of her simplex because her herd doubled. So she finds this duplex, and it's like a dream, right? Garden, duplex,
Yeah.
Borum Hill, right? Borum Hill, I think, technically coming from Gowanus. That's technically Gowanus / Carroll Gardens. So here we go. How do we make that happen? So we're going to take the proceeds of her sale on President Street, roll it into as the down payment
And keep the
on
same
the
mortgage.
$1.2 million, or $1.2 million, right?
And 1.2 to
1.22. I don't remember all the details of the deals, but we go there, and then the rest gets financed. See, Jose, that's where he comes in, and he could do things like that. So what happens is we're leveraging
Yep.
the equity gain from her first purchase to buy something larger, right?
upgrade.
And then to upgrade. So we do stepping stones, like the hermit crab needs a bigger shell. We don't start in the mansions and work our way down, although some people do, but we are going the other way. So then you would call somebody like Jose at Chase or anywhere else if you are in another state, because you could do this all over the world, by the way. This is not just restricted to Brooklyn or New York City. I want you to know real estate is real estate is real estate. And that's what we're here for, to bring you real stories, real people, and in real time. So guess what happens? we go to contract. How exciting was that?
We got a double contract.
We go to double contract. That's right. Let me check myself.
We actually got kicked out because they were so eager to buy our place twice what we had purchased it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she doubled her money on the first one.
Exactly. Money went into escrow. I guess we were homeless for about 2 weeks, and thank you so much, all my friends who volunteered to host us with our old tribe. And we move into our dump that
Wow.
we really turned into a jewel.
They turned it into a jewel, and then
Did you
and
do a bad
then
renovation?
We did.
Oh, wow.
We did.
they
do
did. They
full
did a
gut.
phenomenal renovation, and that was a garden duplex on Warren Street, which she picked up for $1,220,000 using proceeds, and then the time came where
Well, COVID. I think COVID changed a lot.
COVID changed a lot of everything for everybody, right? It put people in perspective of like we want bigger space or different space or more freedom space instead of being like tied to like a rectangle.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say if we would still be there without COVID, but COVID was really what made us
The determining.
made the step and be like, okay, we got to go to the suburbs. This is going to be better life quality, better environment for children to grow, and probably a little more peaceful than in the center of a really congested city. I called Imma.
Ta-da!
And I literally called Imma. Like, we made
It's
an
like the
appointment.
magic.
I'm the magic. Where's my wand? I have a wand. I have a wand today too. You know what? I love
my
bringing
gosh,
all
where's
my
your-
little gadgets with me because we have to make the show a lot of fun.
I gotta sew you a witch hat.
You're gonna, yeah, because you know they used to tell me I was like a charlatan, right? They tell me I had Merlin fingers, my hand.
Charlatan.
But I do have a sixth sense, and I was born with a knowing. I can sense when the market's changing way before they start talking about it or anyone even utters it. They usually look at me like I'm crazy, but I might be crazy. But at the end of the day, I was born with a sense of knowing. I have very super strong intuition. And to be aware of that intuition and listen to your inner guidance and voice is critical, but things hold us back, right? So why is that part of today's show? It's very important to listen to that. And people might say, hey, you're like a kook or whatever. I don't care what they think or how they feel. I'm usually 99% right. I just wish I would channel the damn lottery number so I could get the heck out of where I am and go live in Italy somewhere on this beautiful Mediterranean Sea and drink wine all day. That's really what I want to do. No, but I love what I do. And here's my magic wand. So what happens is Anne calls me and...
Really ahead. Like, we sat down for coffee. It must have been October. And we left in July. And you're like, hold on. Don't rush. This is what needs to happen. We're not going to put it on the market until February. So in the meantime, do this, do that. No, there was renovation next door going on. We couldn't really put the house on the market anyway.
They were building that new condo development on the corner of
Warren and Bond.
Bond. And it looked like a prison.
Well, you also had the right idea. 'cause-
Gigantic
It,
toilet.
it looked like a prison. It was like concrete with chain link. No, it looked like a prison. And guess what? They still sold out. But hey, you know.
Yeah, but during COVID, like I remember so many people put their listings on hold
They
because of the market, right? People were like leaving the city, right, or afraid.
Yeah,
and-
they were.
And for the mortgages, for me, I was extremely busy doing refinance because the rates were so low.
The rates were so
Right.
low. They were
So
at an
low.
all-time low. We'll never
Uh,
see that
yeah.
again. I already
It was
already
one of
know.
my better times during COVID, which is kind of funny. But yeah, people were putting
Me too.
their
That was like my best time. I was like wheeling and dealing, going everywhere
Yeah.
crazy.
The beauty of it, because we were able to buy cash.
Oh wow, yeah, because you saw that. That's great.
So wait, this gets really good. So we put the Warren Street condo duplex on the market, and we are. It seems to be getting a little too quiet. So I wake up one morning, and I'm like, I just got a strong sense that there was something holding this back. Like, it was bizarre. Great location, 2,000 square foot, fully renovated. Bathrooms were beautiful. Garden. I mean, this was something that should have flown off the market within 72 hours normally at that time period in that neighborhood. So when I sensed a little bit slow thing, so here's my other little trusty little gadget here. So in real estate, we use like a little St. Joseph statue. You could buy them on Amazon. I should get Amazon as a sponsor. I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon. I'm starting to realize I had magic 8 balls from Amazon. So St. Joseph, not because I'm religious or anything like that, because I'm not. Most of you know that, like, I was born and raised Roman Catholic, but I don't follow that. But at the end of the day, I did follow this. I woke up with this sense. I call Anne, who is not following Catholicism at all. So St. Joseph, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give a stab at this. You're Buddhist, right? Mm-hmm. She's Buddhist. So I go, Anne, I just got this feeling like something's holding back this sale, and I can't really pin it, but I bought St. Joseph, and we have to bury him in the backyard. And you have to say like this house sale prayer when you're doing it and all this. So she made it a fun event for the kids.
We had to dig.
But wait, it gets better. Do you remember what you told me that day when I said I got St. Joseph? You told me your mother called you from France.
That's right. She had the same kind of gut feeling as you.
At the same time.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
So
you don't know it exists until you know.
So, and now, mind you, her mom lives in France. I don't talk to the mother. It wasn't like we were conspiring about having some kind of thing holding it back. I just sensed an energy there. And I said, let's go take care of this. So I brought her St. Joseph.
You brought me 3.
3 St. Josephs. Not one.
Front yard, backyard,
3 St. Josephs upside down. And you say this little prayer. And then that's when she mentioned that the mom had a dream or something and called her, and I was like, wow, I guess my intuition's pretty damn good. So then we decided to call, who I nicknamed Marie Antoinette in France.
Whom I didn't know of until that day, but my mom was like, yes, she's been a friend of the family forever. She took care of your grandmother until she passed. Wonderful person who also could see things, but way more not
defined. It's
yeah,
defined.
More psychic.
Yeah, more psychic, more defined,
Yeah.
like actual, probably gets images and things.
That's right. So Mom was like, give her a call. Okay. So I do. And I remember that day it was pouring. Do you remember? You picked me up.
Yeah, picked you
I don't
up.
know where you were taking me.
I don't remember.
But oh my gosh, it was pouring. Tons of water. You gave me this. And I was like, what do you want me to do with this?
It's like, hey, it
I
worked.
called this person. It was a Thursday. I called this person, and she's like, don't ask any question. But I need this information, this information, this information. We'll talk tomorrow. The next day, it was not raining anymore. It was beautiful sun. She said, ask Imma to take the house off the market. He was like, no, I can't. We have a whatever number. The real estate number when you list a property.
Oh, like they have like
You
running
had that
counts.
agreement.
Like,
You had the agreement,
Oh,
right?
the listing agreement?
listing
No,
agreement.
the days on market, all this other stuff
that
gets
stuff.
involved. It gets all sloppy. Then when you put it back on, it's just.
She's like, take it off the market. But it's complicated. Take it off the market.
So
She
we
did.
did.
We did. We're like, okay, let's follow the rules. 24 hours. Next day, she calls me. She's like, how are you feeling? I was like, I'm feeling great. Energy much lighter. And she's like, put it back. You remember? You couldn't put it back on the market. You had to recreate a completely entire new
Something
listing.
had happened. Usually we can make them off market and then click them back to on. It wouldn't allow it. And I
Wow.
said, this has never happened before. So this was after Marie Antoinette did her magic thing in the middle of the night in France. So then the next day I'm trying to relist it, and I couldn't. I had to recreate the entire listing, reload the images, the floor plans, and all that stuff. Everything from scratch.
Wow.
So we did.
Within 24 hours, we had a bunch of people.
Offers.
Yep. As St. Joseph is my witness, that's true. Within 24 hours after that, we ended up with multiple visitors, inquiries, and offer. And
An offer, we took it.
They took it right away. But wait, let's get a little deeper into the whole like thing. That condo, there was something holding it back, and unfortunately, whether it's not necessarily this thing, right? We're just giving energy to something else.
Right.
So the moment you focus your energy on something, look, these old sayings go back in time since I don't know, since the beginning of time. You know, you have to like put your energy there. Think about it, manifest it, focus on it. So all we're doing is really putting energy against another energy that we sensed, right? So there was an energy there that Marie Antoinette found and removed, and
What
then
was it?
so it
She does not want us to know.
Oh.
No
Yeah.
need to know.
so there was you because then you're going to be applying energy to that, and maybe you give it power, right? So they say it's better to not. What ended up happening was we did get an accepted offer. She did accept the offer. What was the sales price again on that?
2.2?
Yep, 2.2.
So you, wow,
She
that's
bought it for
great.
$1.2 million, did a reno, and we sold it for 2.2.
We sold it for less than that. 2.1, I think. They brought it down. I think
Oh,
you
wait, no,
listed-
was it?
you had lowered the price several times and it was still blocked.
Still blocked, yeah. We tried everything,
Marie
really,
Antoinette
because
was
I was
like,
like, maybe it's my
"Stop."
imagination. Maybe I am a kook.
Marie Antoinette was like, stop lowering the price. Even if you give it away.
Oh, maybe it was
you're
a
not
2
gonna be
million
like-
150. It had to be. I'm going to look it up now. I'm
Something
curious.
like that.
But anyway, she made an enormous
wow.
return. So
That's a great return.
it's a great return.
5 years.
Yeah.
So
But that
with,
whole area is so.
now it's like
Yeah,
forget it. Now
yeah.
it's even more untouchable. But the whole point is that Marie Antoinette was focusing on the energy that she sensed. I was focusing on putting the energy that I sensed onto something else so that we could clear the path and get this going. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So awareness matters. Having strong intuition matters. Listen to that inner voice. I don't know how many times that comes up maybe with financing, but I'm sure in your everyday life, Jose, you get this like nudge or a feeling, and then you act on it, and then something.
Sometimes, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes when you talk to people, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of sense something from them, you know, in the house, whatever, and you're trying to structure something and make it work for them.
I have a good
So-
way to ask you, like if you like I say, hey, Jose, Anne is looking to finance, right? She's gonna now buy something else. And then do you ever use your instinct and intuition upon meeting them, whether or not it's like a match? Because everyone today wants to kind of work with like-minded, aligned, this, that, and everything else. But like, is there ever times where it, for some reason, it just doesn't fit and you listen to your instinct is like kind of like letting you know?
Well, technically, I try to help everybody.
Yeah,
right?
of course, yeah, have
Because
to. We all
you-
do.
But sometimes the client is not a match for you, right?
Exactly.
It just
Yeah.
it's not, and that's kind of rare though, because most people, I tend to like when I talk to you, I try to get to know you, because that way you kind of you can guide them better and,
Yeah,
and
of
see where they're
course.
going and give them better ideas, and so as part of my application process, I kind of talk a lot. And that's kind of good because that gives you an idea about the client, and then you get an intuition and a good feeling, right? And sometimes,
No, and I mean,
it just
why
doesn't.
they come to you and
Yeah.
then they bounce around.
Right, exactly. And you
So
want to keep the
Your
client.
instinct
so,
sometimes you want to keep the
Yeah.
client. Of course, we all want to keep our buyers and everybody happy. I mean, my buyers just got an accepted offer after a year of shopping, right? So they stuck with me, right? So that's great.
yeah,
Because
so,
then
yeah.
it's a year's worth of work for zero, and now at least
Yeah.
I have the opportunity to
You
earn
do.
on that year of schlepping around. But they bounce around,
Oh,
right?
They do,
So
totally. Yeah. So like, so but I think it's
plant
all
the
about
seed.
your personality,
exactly.
right? It's how you treat the person and how you talk to them and your personality. Because I have people that call me. I have clients that I have worked with for years, and when they like similar to you calling Imma, they call me for the pre-approval.
Yeah,
So and it's a good synergy when you have that happen.
of course, because
I can tell you, and I'm saying it in front of everyone, when we're ready to go, I'm calling Imma.
Yeah.
So here goes. We got a question. So Anne now moved out of Borum Hill. We sold that for 2.150, whatever. We can figure it out. I could probably Google it. It'll come up. And she moved to the suburbs, where she is now living. How do you like it?
Much better quality of life. More space. Not that we needed more, but it's always good to have more. amazing schools, and like we can park whenever we need to park. We
That's
don't
a
have to
huge
run
thing.
around,
That's a
and
quality of life issue for sure.
We were on a waiting list for a parking spot in Boring Hill for 2 years.
Wow.
2 years. And
We
you know,
never get one.
how about when you circle, 45 minutes, an hour of your time? You know, someone once told me, wouldn't you rather just be doing something else than driving or looking for parking?
Alternate side of the street parking.
Alternate side, double park. Hope you don't get a ticket. But you know, it's true. It's a quality of life thing because I drive a lot. And then I say to myself, really, do I want to always be driving? Like, so I'm reaching that point where, no, I don't want to always be driving, but my work requires me to drive. But at the same time, now I have to just work a little smarter and drive less because crossing that godforsaken BQE has been a disaster for the whole 18 years that I had lived in that borough, and it is getting worse. But I don't know how come. Brand new bridge, brand new everything. I mean, like, and it's still a nightmare, like a complete nightmare. It's you drive 18 miles, it takes you 2.5 hours at the wrong time of the day. I might as well live upstate New York somewhere and drive south, you know?
Right.
So the more those hours add up, the less life you have because you're sitting in your car. I mean, there's only so much you could do in your car, like drive, pay attention, maybe eat, talk on the phone. But at the end of the day, you're not really living. You're stuck behind the wheel of a car. 4 hours, 8 hours a day.
Listen, I'm
it
a
gets
subway
crazy.
person. I don't have a car.
Yeah.
And I find subways, mass transit is the best way to go.
And New York City happens.
Yeah.
It smells so
Oh
good.
yeah, it's
know.
sometimes it does. You get used to it, but you know, New York City, we do have a pretty
Yeah.
good system, even though it's old. But it's a good system, and it's on 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about parking. You no longer have, and now we got city bikes and
And you get to and you get quickly, like you never sit in the subway for 2.5 hours, right? So
no, never sit in the
like,
subway for
you
2.5
know,
hours.
If you're in a meeting, you can. I know I'm going to be in a meeting on time because I'll jump on the subway.
Yeah,
Like
and,
even when I came down here today,
Yeah.
it was like 2 seconds.
yeah, and you don't have to worry about it once you
But
arrive.
you don't have 2 kids.
No. But what I have seen,
He has a furry baby,
I have
a
seen
fur baby. Is that
there
what they're
people
called?
are moving back to the city. Have you seen that?
It's
They're
interesting.
moving back to the city.
Because a lot of people during COVID did what you did, sold their homes and left. But I have seen a lot of people coming back.
They're coming back.
Back
They
to
try to
s-
come back. You know, talking about coming back, I'll tell you why it's harder to come back than it is to exit.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, real estate on that big index goes in one direction over time. There are small pockets of where it might dip 10, 20%. I don't know if we'll ever see 2008, was it 2009 ever
Right.
again, at least not in the immediate future, I hope. But should it return, everything comes back anyway.
Yeah.
So it's cyclical, right? So at the end of the day, though, over time, even rebounding from that market that dropped 50% back then. I remember when Oro was coming out of the ground on Tillery Street.
I
It was
remember
the
that.
first building up,
It
okay?
would sell.
The developer gets stuck holding the bag. Everything's going to hell. Banks are defaulting. People are jumping out windows. Everything's going crazy, okay? People are in contract losing 40, 50% a day until the damn thing closes in equity. And everything in Oro dropped 45 to 50%. You were able to buy an apartment in there for $340,000. Where today it's probably
Yeah, like
every bit of
over
$1.7
$1
million,
Well, the
$1.5
same thing
million,
with the building
$1.6
on
million.
Ashland Place. Remember that one building?
oh, yeah.
They had a fire sale.
They had a fire sale. Yeah. And wait, 189 Skimmerhorn
Yeah,
Street,
yeah,
another
that's
one.
right.
All these developers got stuck holding the bag, right? So does that happen? It happens. We're in a dip now. Why? Because the rates are so damn high. I don't think they can possibly go any higher. They have to eventually start coming down. Again,
Good news is they have started to come down.
yeah,
slightly.
they're starting to slowly creep down. So like I already gave my prediction for that. I don't believe we're going to go below 5, and I think in order for us to get anywhere near 5, it's probably going to take them a good, I don't know, 1 to 3 years to get us there. But we'll see
Definitely
what
not
happens.
this year.
It's definitely not this year. So you see, we're already on year number 2 in the making. But we literally went from 2% mortgages to, I think 7 was the highest, or 6,
Almost
8,
eight.
almost 8. So imagine that. Imagine how much money's being made on that money, right? So money always makes money. We refer to it as paper because that's what it is at the end of the day. You get a piece of paper that says you have a 30-year mortgage, which is some kind of electronic math somewhere in some place, right?
If you make one extra payment per year, you'll bring it down from 30 to 23 years.
That's right. You shave off 7 years. Did you hear that? Say it again.
If you make one extra payment per year, you will bring your mortgage term from 30 to 23 years.
See that? You save 7 years. 7 years. So always go with a fixed option. I always prefer that. But if you're a gambler, or what I call gamblers, right? I'm very conservative when it comes to that. I don't even like the word debt, but in these cases we do use that as leverage. If you do fixed, that's it. It's fixed for the term of the mortgage agreement. If you like to gamble and you're really good and keeping dates and you do an arm, then you can really jump in and jump out and take advantage. But you're going to pay you're going to pay closing costs every single time you do that. But some people don't care, because if they're looking at that big index again, they realize the real estate's going in one direction. Again, I like to always say this. A developer told me many years ago, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy the real estate and then you wait. Because honestly, looking back, coming back now, people from the suburbs to come back into the city, when they left, we were here. They want to come back. We are now here. Hopefully their job went there, because if it did not, they can't come back. And they'll realize real quick, fast, that they can't. And new development, new construction tax, some of them, it's huge, huge. The townhome taxes on new construction in the city is tremendous. I don't even know if they're doing abatements anymore.
Some of the buildings that started have, but the city has temporarily canceled the 421A.
Oh, 421A. So that's it. You're talking taxes.
Or the state. That's actually the state.
So I'll give an example. In Gowanus, a friend of mine bought an apartment during that collapse. His taxes were abated for
it's anywhere between 15 and
we're in
25
2025.
years.
So okay, it was like 2007. So I think it was like 18, 17. It was like a weird number. It starts to phase out, and then 421A tax abatements are exactly that. Taxes are abated, and so you get to buy it, and your taxes maybe like $23 a month. He has a 1-bedroom apartment in a 4-story walk-up. It was new construction in 2007. His taxes today on that are over $13,000 a year.
Yeah.
By the time you factor that into your mortgage and everything else, so you could have gone to the suburbs, and now you want to try to get back. You probably won't get anywhere near the same kind of space that you once had on your way out.
Yeah. So I just want to mention one thing. So also paying your mortgage off quicker, you can do what's called a recast. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, good. Enlighten us, because I never heard that.
And people do that all the time. So if you, and the banks allow it, most of them. So let's assume that you want to pay $25,000 towards your mortgage, right?
Okay, so like just an advance payment?
Yeah, so you can do
prepayment.
Prepayment, but it's just you have to request it. And what they do with that is they recalculate your entire mortgage payment based on the new principal amount.
I see. So
and that helps you pay it off quicker.
Your monthly is recalculated.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that lowers your interest payments, right? It lowers the principal you owe, and and you can pay it off quicker. A lot of people do that.
That's good. What's it called? A recast?
It's called a recast.
Oh, see, that's good.
So it's different from you just like randomly adding an extra payment
totally
every
different.
year.
You have to request it from the bank. Some banks it's free. Some banks charge you $100, and it's great. A lot of people use it.
Yeah,
but it's worth it. In terms of like, another thing people do. Oh, so that's good to know, right? Recast. People pay an extra payment a year and to shave off 7 years of their mortgage. And a lot of times when people are financing, they end up buying points. So some banks, not all, offer that. I believe. I don't think every bank does, where you can buy down a point. So
I think everybody offers the buy down.
They
the
do.
points,
Everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's tied to your rate. So the rates are always tied to like a point.
Okay. All right.
A cost.
Right.
It could either be free. Or if you want, so let's say your rate is 7%, it's at par, it's free, right? But if the rate, if you want to buy it down, then you could always buy points.
So, and what we mean is like buying points. We mean like buy your rate down.
Buy the rate down. So
by paying for it.
And what people,
in advance.
And it's not 1 point does not bring your rate down 1%. Okay, it brings it down perhaps an eighth or a quarter.
But over time.
And a point costs 1% of whatever the loan amount is. So if your loan is $300,000, $3,000, and that might get you an eighth or a quarter off.
Right. So then here comes math,
you have
right?
to think if it's worth it.
You have to think of it. You have to do the math.
1%, you'd have to pay $12,000.
It all depends.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's all it's
Okay.
it's all
It's a formula.
it's
Yeah,
a
so-
formula.
so what
Everything's
I-
a math formula. Look, if someone were to save that eighth of a point and they do the math over they're anticipating a 30-year mortgage. So you do the math over a course of
Well, what I do,
the
what I-
savings,
So
right?
what I do for clients is when people want to buy points, I do an analysis for them. So this is what your payment is at this rate, and this is what your payment is if you bought all these points. This is the difference. This is how long it would cost you to recapture that cost.
Right.
Right, and that when you do that analysis, sometimes it doesn't make any sense to buy a point.
Right. So you see, that's why you need professionals on your side. That's why you need a good team. That's why you don't just decide to buy something over the internet. That's only good for this kind of stuff. You want to call someone, that like
Yep.
I know Jose for years. Like he's a trustworthy person. Hey, he can help you out.
I
Anne
know
calls
Imma
me.
for years.
She knows me for years. She knows I'm not going to steer in the wrong direction. I'm not going to I'm not chasing the commission there on the deal. I'm chasing the actual relationship and getting the dream fulfilled, right? So she lives in the suburbs now. She's happy and all that. We're going to ask the Magic 8 Ball if that's where she's going to stay forever. Because you know what? I used to love playing with this thing when I was a kid all the time. Like, am I going to go to school tomorrow?
You're gonna be a half
So let's
empty
see.
nester in 6 months. So let's see.
Go ahead. You're going to do it. You're going to shake the ball. We're all going to shake and see what happens.
Let's shake the ball.
Ready? Go ahead. I shake it up for you a little bit.
Shake, shake, shake.
So the question is Anne staying there forever?
Outlook not so good. You got some business coming.
I got
your
some
way.
business coming. I'm going to bring this around when I go list properties. I'm going to shake it up and be like, am I getting the listing? And they're going to look at me going, what the hell is going on with
Where
this
do people
chick?
go after they've already gone through the suburbs?
I can't even see what this says. It is.
The Hamptons.
It's moving. It's moving. What does this say? It is. Can you read that word? It's like moving and I can't catch it.
Hold on, move your finger. It is certain.
It is certain. See that? I'll be listing. It is certain that I will be listing the house that she's going to move out of.
Okay.
Shake it up. Let's see.
What's the question?
The question is going to be, will Jose get the mortgage on the next purchase? It moves. It's not exactly weighted like it was back in the 90s.
Most likely.
Ah, look at that. We're
We are
in
in
business.
business.
We have the whole thing squared away, and that's that. So I know I mentioned briefly in the beginning that Anne is aspiring designer, and she made me this amazing cosmetic pouch, and you know what? She should be selling these things. She even embroidered my name on the inside, okay? So she could custom make them, and that's what she should be doing, is selling them on Amazon.
And you could not give it to anyone unless their
And I
name is
can't
Imma.
I can't regift it unless I
Unless
know
the
another
name's
Imma. So, and she also made the jacket she's
I
wearing.
did.
She
I
makes a
did.
lot of things. It's
Wow.
very creative,
Yeah.
right? And like I said originally, she speaks 5 languages. I only speak 3: Spanish, Italian, and English. And Jose speaks
Español.
Espanol and English.
Inglés.
So we are multilingual. We can help anyone. On top of that, especially Anne. I mean, 5 languages, it's impressive.
International.
Yeah.
International.
Because what do you have? French, English?
French, English, Russian, Spanish, and Arabic.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Arabic.
wow.
Amazing. So, if anybody out there wants to sell their home with me, I will call Anne. She'll be the translator for the languages that I don't speak. I used to love languages. I wanted to be a linguist. And linguist, is that what it's called? Yeah, I wanted to. I always set a goal for myself when I was younger. I was like, I got to learn 5 languages. I always wanted to learn German, French, Russian. I already knew Italian, and growing up in New York City, you're obligated. Spanish was the only second language I took throughout all of high school, and I got a 98 on my Regents. But at the end of the day, living in New York City, you do use it a lot. I use it a
Yeah.
lot everywhere I go. But I wanted to learn those languages. So in the past, in Borum Hill, there's a little language school. So I did take French classes. I did take German classes. it's amazing how languages are put together. I know we're talking about that, why the school is inside of real estate. Everything is real estate to me. The studio's real estate, homes are real estate, right?
Yeah.
The post office, restaurants. So the language school's in this little tiny place, and it's actually really interesting to see when you really, I just naturally have a love for foreign languages. I feel like I can understand them even though I can't when people are talking.
Hey, listen,
But,
I understand Italian a lot.
Yeah,
It's
but
very
that's
similar to Spanish.
very similar to
Now,
Spanish.
I had the hardest time with French.
Well, actually, Italian and French, I believe, are closer than Spanish.
See,
and French.
when you're in northern Italy, I can understand everything. It's as it goes further south, it changes.
It does change. But the whole thing, like the mother language, and how other languages are derived and how words are put together,
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And that's my goal, is to learn Italian.
Oh yeah, it's easy now with
I know,
all these
I know,
apps
I
and
know.
things. Like Babel.
Sono la donna.
Sono la donna.
I can't go wrong.
You can't.
Mi piace molto Imma.
see?
Aw, she likes me very
Yeah.
much. Anch'io. Io ti amo. I love her. And our kids are growing up,
That's so nice.
and they're moving on
I know. Can't wait.
eventually. Can't wait is right. Amen.
So then they move on to get their first apartment.
Yes, hopefully
right.
my son will follow my footsteps and get a license so that I can have him running around the city, painting the town red while he sells some apartments. But all his friends are going to be coming home from college, the ones that are going away and the ones that are staying. They're going to need apartments. They're going to need condos, co-ops. He's got a business already
Rentals.
built in, rentals.
right.
He's I'm actually going to start him doing the hustle with the rentals, because talking about rentals really quick, the city is now in a lot of buildings, they're no longer doing the lottery. So we're going to get rid of a lot of bureaucracy there and red tape, which means that, so if anyone follows my TikTok, you'll see I talk a lot about the taxation voucher system, city FEPs, and all of them, Section 8. You don't need to apply through the lottery and wait 7 years to get out of a shelter, or 9 to get called for anything anymore. They're going to allow brokers like myself to advertise the vacancies and have you apply directly, so it's first come, first serve. So they're starting to dismantle the old way, so look out for that. It's
Wow.
big news. It's big news for New York City, because that lottery system was a total joke, and apartments actually sat empty, believe it or not, even knowing we have a crisis. These shelters are spilling out. Some of them are literally deplorable conditions from the calls and stuff I get off of my TikTok posts, which is disgusting as far as I'm concerned. And we're going to have to do a whole episode on uncovering the layers of that nonsense that takes place in the city. But in the meantime, it's heartbreaking, because these are humans, these are people, and they're living like this, and they want to get out, and they just want to have a place that they could have, their family secure. And so now, finally, it must have fell upon the right ears, and they are slowly dismantling that lottery
Wow,
system.
that's so interesting.
Yeah, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they have a hard time. I'm actually planning to have somebody who reached out to me on TikTok. She's going to come and talk herself from her experience and how it's detrimental to children to live like that in a shelter, whether it's domestic violence shelter or not. But in the meantime, there's a lot of people that have that challenge, and that and it's terrible, because these buildings are going up at the speed of light, and they have affordable housing in them.
Yeah.
And you wait for years on the lottery, and it starts to feel like it's make-believe. But it's coming, it's changing. So change is on the way.
That's
So,
great.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's good news for people. And they're building thousands and thousands of units everywhere. I think this is the first time where all 5 boroughs are under construction. There's not one place that's not being built up. I mean, they're doing the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan. I mean, look anywhere, all you see is cranes. I'm on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
BQE driving. I look to the far right, to the water. It's crane after crane. I every time I'm driving, I'm alone, and I'm like, damn it, I want that photo opportunity, because you're not gonna always see that, right? So on the BQE, when you look to the
Right.
to
Well,
the
the-
right.
the
Going up,
Gowanus,
Oh
down.
yeah, no, I'm coming to Brooklyn from Queens. I'm like losing my
Going
mind.
right.
Yeah, so you look to the right, and in between the storage companies that are there, those big block places,
Yeah.
You see the water, you see the cranes, and it's an amazing picture. Cause like I just love photography since I was in high school. But and I gotta capture
even
it.
when you see
Oh, maybe
glass,
today,
right?
maybe today. Cause no, we're not gonna pass that. Oh yes, we are. We are.
And you're in the passenger seat.
And I'm in the
You could
passenger
take
seat, so
pictures.
I'm gonna take the picture. Yeah, we drove in today, by the way. So yeah, so we will be driving back out together. So to wrap up on intuition, right?
Yeah. You want me to say something?
Yeah, I want you to
Yeah.
say something because Anne too is very.
Intuitive.
She could intuitive. Well, you
so
could feel.
it-
You
one-
have a sensing. You
One
know.
little piece of advice to potential buyers. Buying a place is a very serious decision. And sometimes it may make sense to rent. You may need a place for a short time. You may
It's true.
also need to be somewhere where you don't want to be forever, and renting is just the right decision. Buying, I consider buying, and I've always had. I bought my first place when I was in my mid 30s, I guess. Was just a step, a very important milestone, but it was also something that had to resonate with me. In the first place I bought, the main reason I made the choice for this place, which I found on the listing in the New York Times,
Yeah.
they refused when I brought my broker. They're like, "Nope, you're on your own."
Oh, that was the first. Yeah, that was before I met
I
her.
was on my own.
She was on her own,
I
and
was
they
the
actually
only-
told her no brokers.
We don't co-broker?
They don't want to. They didn't want to co-broker.
So I did not have anyone to represent me except my attorney, obviously, but
Right.
that's paperwork,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
representation. So basically, I was like, okay, do I want to wake up here every day for the next few years
And
of
you know,
my
that's a
life?
really good point, and yeah, that's a really good point because now the new chatter is that they want to float around and be free, not tied down, right? So that's kind of like where the next generation is almost at, right? So it's kind of like funny, but at the same time, there's like an enormous amount of demand for buying, but like it's kind of weird because you know it's a good point. Renting is very important.
Sometimes it really depends on your situation. It's a case
Yeah.
by case question.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would you recommend in terms of, you know, because I want to recap before we wrap this show
Yeah.
up. So like in terms of like just giving some guidance on intuition, like if look, when people look at stuff, I usually tell them, don't tell me now how you feel. Call me tomorrow after you slept on it. I want to know what the first thing that pops up
Right.
into your head about what you saw.
That's right.
Is it a yes or a no? And it's going to be as clear as day if you listen carefully. You can also do some auto writing. We'll talk about that more on another show. Or trust the 8 ball.
True. I mean, sleeping on it is definitely a good way to approach it. It has to make sense for you to live in that place. It also has to make sense for your money to be
Yeah.
in that place.
Yeah. and
Is your money going to
definitely.
be safe? You know that your money is going to be, in French, we don't say real estate, we say immobilier, which means immobile. That means your money is not moving. It's stuck in a building.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
that-
growing,
It's
Yeah,
growing,
yeah.
but
but
it's growing.
stuck
But it's
there.
there.
It's not liquid.
Right.
You cannot just even, like, you go
Grab
into
it.
your IRA.
Yeah, you're not going to the
Yeah.
ATM
Yeah.
machine in the
No.
house and swipe your card in the
It is-
mailbox.
that's
It's
right.
not going to happen.
I mean, you
I
could get a
understand.
home
That's
equity
what they call
loan,
it
but
in
Yeah.
Italy
it's
too.
extremely,
Yeah.
pricey.
No, but
and-
home equity. Look, you know I'm sorry, I'm not a gambler again. So now you have a mortgage in the first lien, and then you get home
Home
equity.
equity.
Also
of
known
credit.
as HELOCs
Yeah.
or line of credit, guys. It's like having another credit card. It's a line of credit. So you know how much leveraging do you want to do that? I don't usually recommend that, but people do it. So, but guess what? It's
It
really
may make sense in a moment.
it's
You
not.
may be waiting for a big amount of cash in the next
yeah,
Yeah.
but you
couple
have
years
to
and
you have
Or
to
you want to
talk
do
to
a renovation
professionals.
in your
A
house.
renovation,
You really
right?
need to do it.
you reinvest. That's
So, what are your final little summary? What do you recommend to someone who's like waking up saying, I think I want to buy, and they contact the mortgage person first?
I think it's really, really important to discuss it with a mortgage person, to do a pre-approval. Even
That's
if
right.
you're absolutely in the beginning stages, or even if you're just thinking about it, I can help you, or a mortgage person can help you come up with a game plan where maybe if you're going to buy in 6 months, hey, this is what I need to do. Maybe I need to fix my credit, or maybe I need to, have X amount of money in the bank, or, or
right.
this is what I need to do. So at least you have a game plan for the future. And it could be you're buying in a year. I mean, I've done it for people that are
Sure.
looking to buy in a year, and we can sit there and we can structure and at least give you an idea and set your goals in the appropriate way. That would be-
Exactly.
You start the
So
conversation.
you start the conversation, grab your notebook out.
Yeah.
We put a plan together, and then you work with the real estate professional to line it up so
Exactly.
that it all comes together. So for financing and money and stuff like that, Jose Becerra, to my right, has been doing this how many years?
22 years.
22 years. I think he knows a little bit about it. Don't rely on the 8 ball for that, okay? Because this is not going to give you any money, and you can't rely on this puppy for that. But you can ask it fun questions at a party, and you'll have a good time. And as far as Anne, she's living proof that a single mom started out simplex to duplex to house. It's possible, leveraging money, using banks to push it over the fence. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining us here today on Imma Talks podcast, where we bring you real stories, real people in real time. Today was a great show. We look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget to follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, X, YouTube, and Instagram. And don't forget to make your real estate dreams come true.